Hey, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Mukris bin Mokhtar. Today, my group presentation from Group 5 to share to all of you in this class about the power and polity. Alright, before I forget, I want to introduce my group members from Group 5. Alright, my group have 6 people. Number 1, Muhammad Mukris bin Mokhtar, that is myself. Number 2, Muhammad Aiman Hakimi bin Sharan. Number 3, Muhammad Haziq Izzat bin Huzaini. Number 4, Muhammad Alif bin Niradi. Number 5, Ahmad Shakir bin Ahmad Salihin. And then lastly, number 6, Muhammad Amirul Azmi bin Abdullah. Right. Introduction. Power is the ability of one person to influence another into acting in accordance with his or her wishes. For example, when a child screams and waits for a Barbie doll as her birthday gift, and the child's parent rally by buying her the doll. For another example, is when a group of students need to pass a certain subject, which is only taught by a particular lecturer. Alright, the next slide is definition of power. Okay, power is defined as the capacity of a person, teams, or organization to influence other. For example, A has influenced the behavior of B to get what A instructs and wishes. Power is also about the relationship which B has toward A. Important aspect of power is whether or not there are alternatives available in situation for B. So, A will lose control over B. Alright, at the next slide, I have to explain to all of you about factor of power. In slide, we have to divide it into two parts. First, you can see at the slide, influence, and another part, dependency. Okay. First, influence, the person which power influence other people. And second, dependency, the more people depend on you, the more power you have other them. The level of dependency is based on the alternatives available and the level of importance a person has. Alright, next, power and leadership. Okay, in this page, we can look for the difference between power and leadership. First, we look for the power. Power used as a means for achieving goals. Second, requires follower dependency. And last, used to gain lateral and upward influence. Second, we look for the leadership. First, focus on goal achievement. Second, requires goal compatibility with followers. And the last, focus influence downwards.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Alif bin Niradi. My metric number is I21105-174. Okay, this time I will continue about basis of power. Okay, now I will talk about definition basis of power. To be an effective leader is to understand how to wield power and what it means when you do so. Being a leader is more than managing employees and tasks. Leadership is a skill. That skill requires both knowledge and practice to make it effective. The use of power is one of many tools at a leader's disposal. Power in itself is neither good nor bad, as it is the wielder that determines if power is used to serve or to undermine a company's goals. Power is much more than simple confidence. It is a necessary tool for enacting change within your sphere of influence. If used effectively, the use of power will gain respect and achieve results. If used improperly, the misuse of power can hamstring an organization and lead to stagnation. Okay, power stems from two general grouping, namely formal or position-based power and personal or person-based power. These two grouping are further expanded into 6 types of power known as the basis of power or source power. Okay, the next slide is about 6 types of formal power or position-based power. First is kerchief power. Second one is reward power. The third is legitimate power. The fourth is information power. The next one is expert power. And the last one is reference power. Okay, next I will explain what is the meaning of the type of power that I said a moment ago. First is kerchief power. The kerchief power base is dependent on fear. A person reacts to this power out of fear of the negative results that might occur if she failed to comply. Kerchief power is often the least effective but most employed and abused type of power in the corporate world. Kerchief power is forcing someone to do something against their will or setting up consequences to employee actions. Kerchief leaders rely on threats, bullying, and or else language to motivate those that are beneath them. This type of behavior often leads to fear, dissatisfaction, and resentment. Okay, the second one is reward power. The opposite of kerchief power is reward power. People comply with the wishes or directive of another because doing so produce positive benefits. Reward power is another widely used method in business today. The result of reward power are mixed and it is therefore the second weakest form of power. Reward power is the concept of do this and get that, or said another way, if you do this, you will receive something in return. Okay, the next slide is about legitimate power. In formal groups and organizations, probably the most frequent access to one or more of the power bases is one structural position. This is called legitimate power. It represents the formal authority to control and use organizational resources. Legitimate power acts as a formalized way of ensuring that there is someone to make a decision, good or bad, and that someone is responsible. Legitimate power can seem arbitrary, and when a person lose or change position or roles within a company, this type of power does not move with them. By itself, this power ability to persuade and convince others is weak. However, when combined with the next 3 powers, legitimate power can be an excellent first step toward effective leadership. The next one, number 4, is information power. Information power is the power of having information that another does not have, or the distribution of information as a means of effecting change. This could be positive or negative propaganda, knowledge of an opponent's strategy, or detailed information that is used in decision support. Informational power is in the possible use of information from persuading by the numbers or making up a statistic to manipulate opinions. Information power can be used to measure and improve tasks, processes, and strategies. Okay, the next slide is about expert power and reference power. Expert power is influenced while as a result of expertise, special skills, or knowledge. Closely related to informational power, expert power is when an individual possesses in-depth information, knowledge, or expertise in the area that they are responsible for. This type of power is often the most effective type of power. Okay, and the last one is reference power. Reference power is based on identification with the person who has desirable resources, or personal traits. Referent power is the cult of personality. This is the power and ability for an individual to attract others and to build loyalty within them. Referent power also the power of respect. This can occur through time if a leader is successful and has a well-known track record of success. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Shakir bin Ahmad Salihin. My number matric is I21109194. Today I will continue this presentation to explain about the keys to power. First of all, there is 4 keys to power. The first one is importance. The second one is clarity. The third one is substitutability. And the last one is dependency. First, I will explain about dependency. Dependency is the one that directly related to power. For example, the more that the person is dependent on you, the more power you will have over them. This is the simple one. Next, I will explain about importance. Importance refers to the value of the resource. The key question here is how important is this? If the resource or skill you control are vital to the organization, you will gain more power. The more vital the resource that you control, that means the more power you will have. For example, if Keisha is the only person who knows how to fill out the reimbursement forms, it is important for you to be able to work with her, because getting paid back for business trips and expenses is important to most of us. The next one is scarcity. Scarcity refers to the uniqueness of the source. The more difficult something to obtain, the more valuable it tends to be. For sales people, for example, exploit his reality by making an opportunity or offer seem more attractive because it is limited or exclusive. At work, a manager might convince you to take a project because it is rare to get a chance to work on a new project like this. Or you have to sign on today, because if you don't, I have to offer it to someone else. That is scarcity. And then the last one is substitutability. Substitutability refers to ability to find another option that work as well as the one that offered. The question around whether something is substitutable is how difficult will it be for me to find another way for this. The harder it is to find a substitute, the more dependent the person becomes, and the more power someone else has over them. For example, if you are the only one person who knows how to make a piece of equipment work, you will be very powerful in the organization, because other workers will need the skill that you have to help them or to teach them how to do the work as you do.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amir Azmi bin Abdullah. Nama matric I 7202163. So I want to present about power tactics. Go to next slide. Power tactic, in which individuals translate power based into specific action. So one does something by using one's own power, or the internally, which blow behavior up to uphold one's own right. Let's look at by one. So number one, we go to next slide. Nine distinction influence tactics. So we got 9. Number one, legitimate. The tactic suggests that based request on one's authority or right, organization receive to policy, or to express or implies support for supervisor is a best. So number one. Number two, rational persuasion, a tactical that is used to try and convince someone with a valid reason, rational logic, and realistic fact. Number three, inspiration applies, a tactical that bullies attention by appealing to emotional idea and or value. Number five, consultation, a tactical that focus on getting order and practicality in the planning process, make decision, and encourage charging. Number five, exchange, a tactical that suggests the making, express, or imply promise the trading flavor. Number six, personal appeals, a tactical that refer to friendship and loyalty with making a request. Pursue, number seven, pursue, a tactic that focus on limiting complices or using intimidation or threats. Last but not least, number 9, completion tactical, refer to tactics that persuade, getting order, and support your effort and persuade someone. We go to next slide. So next slide is common power tactical. So this common power tactical. So influencer tactical or what battle preparation on the direction of influencer. Study have found the rational persuasion is the only tactical that is effective across organization level. Inspiration helps work best as the downward influation tactical with some broadening where personally works. It is almost always the to elevation downward influencing and the use of normal appreciation and competition are most effective, which later influencer estimates. In addition to the direction to for influencer, a number of other factor have to found to affect which tactical work best. They include the circulation of tactical, a personal skill in using the tactics, a personal willpower at the time is request and how to request to its preset. The clutter of the organization and country flexing clutter factor. Okay, so we go to the next presentation. So thank you.
Alright, next, my name is Muhammad Aiman Hakimi bin Sharan. My matric number I21105-175. We go to the next slide. The first, what is politic? Politic is a workplace politic, office politic, or organizational politics. Is the use of power and social networking within an organization to achieve change that the benefit of the organization or individual within its influence by individual may serve personal interest without regard to their effect on the organization itself. Why is politics required? To come in the limelight and gain under attention and appreciation from the senior. The second, to obtain advantage which are beyond their control. And the last one is getting thing done at the right time. Okay, we go to the next slide. Politic, the power in action. Politic, the power in action must be discussed on what is a power, the base of power, as well as the tactic of power. Politic is defined as those activities that are not required as part of one's formal role in the organization, but the influence or attempt to influence the disruption or of advantage and disadvantage within the organization. Organizational politics is the management of influence to obtain ends and not sectioned by the organization or to obtain sectioned ends through non-sectioned means, and the art of creative compromise among competing interests. The above definition clearly points out of the following. First, political behavior fall outside the ambit of one specific job requirements. The second is include effort to influence the goal, criteria, or processes employed for the decision making. And the last one, it includes a variety of political behavior such as withholding vital information from decision maker, whistleblowing, spreading rumors, leaking confidential information. Alright, we go to the next slide. Political behavior. It is two political behavior. The first, legitimate political behavior, and the second, illegitimate political behavior. Legitimate political behavior, this is a normal everyday politic. For example, complaining to the supervisor, forming coalition, developing contact outside the organisation. Alright. Legitimate political behavior refer to the normal everyday politics. Complaining to your supervisor by passing the change of common farming, collusion, obstructing organizational policies, or dedication through inaction or exercise. Advance to rules and developing contract outside the organisation through one's personal activity. We go to the illegitimate political behavior. Activity which violate the rules of the organisation. For example, wearing a protest button, getting involved in strike. On the other hand, there are also illegitimate in the political behavior that violate the implied rules of the games. Those who pursue such extreme activities are often described as individuals who play hardball. Illegitimate activity include sabotage, while whistleblowing, and symbolic protest such as wearing an unorthodox dress protest buttons and group of employees simultaneously calling in sick. Next, we go to the factor that influence political behavior. Although organizational politics is a way of life, how often its occurs varies. Maksudnya, politic is the making of a common decision for a group of people that is uniform. Dedication applying in the same way to all members of the group. It also involves the use of power by one person to affect the behavior of another person. More narrowly, it's referred to achieve and exercise position of governance organized to control over a human community, particularly a state. Furthermore, politics is the study or practice of the distribution of power and research within a given community, as well as the relationship between community. A variety of methods are employed in politics, which include promoting forcing one's of political views among people, negotiation with other political subjects, making laws, and exercising force, including warfare against adversaries. Political is exercised on a wide range of social levels, from clans and tribes of traditional societies, through modern local governments, company, and institutions up to sovereign state. To the international level, it is very often said that politics is about a power, and a political system is a framework which defines acceptable political method within a given society. History of the political too can be traced back to early antiquity, with a seminal work such as Plato's Republic, Aristotle's Politic, and the work of Confucius. Formal politics refer to the operation of a constitutional system of government and publicly defined institution and procedures. And the political parties public policy or discussion about war or foreign effort would fall under the category of formal politic, and the informal politic is understood as a forming alliance, exercising power and protecting and advancing particular ideas or goals. Alright, next we go to the factor the influence political behavior. It is two factor in the political behavior. The first the individual, and the second the organization. The first the individual employees who are highly self-motivated have a highly self-motivated locus of control and need for power to be involved in political behavior. Political skills refer to people interpersonal style include their ability to relate well to others, self-monitor, alter their reaction depending upon the situation they are in, and inspire confidence and trust. Individual who are high in internal locus of control believe that they can make a difference in organizational outcome. They do not leave things to fate, and therefore we would expect those high in internal locus of control to engage in more political behavior. Research show that this individual perceive political around them to a greater degree, and the investment in the organization is also relate the political behavior. If a person is highly invest in an organization, either financially or emotionally, they will be more likely to engage in political behavior because they care deeply about the fate of the organization. We go to the organization. The situation in the organization and the culture of the organization are two major factors which contribute to the presence of political behavior. Political behavior happens when organizational research decline, resulting in employees safeguarding themselves and being more sensitive. Okay. The organization is a charity of research breeds politics when research such as monetary incentive or promotion or limited. People see the organization as more political. Any type of ambiguity can relate to greater organizational politics. For example, role ambiguity allow individual to negotiate and redefine their roles. This freedom can become a political process. Research show that when people do not feel clear about their job responsibility, they perceive the organization as more political. Ambiguity also exists around performance, evaluation, and promotion. This human research practice and lead to greater political behavior, such as impression management throughout the organization. As you might imagine, democratic decision making lead to more political behavior, since many people have a say in the process of making decision. There are more people available to be influenced. Alright, we go to the next slide. How politics work in organization. A political system is a system or from politics and a pattern of government. Usually, the political system is compared to the legal system, economic system, culture system, and social system. Among the popular political system is communism or fascism. The political system involves power, how religious question should be addressed, government influence on society, and the economy should be exercised. Organizational politics are informal, unofficial, and sometimes behind the scene effort to sell idea, influence, and organization increase power or achieve other objective. Politic has been around for millennia. Aristotle wrote the politic stem from a diversity of interests, and those competitive interests must be resolved in some way. Rational decision making alone may not work when interests are fundamentally incongruent. So political behavior influence that arise. Today, work in organization requires skill in handling conflicting agendas and shifting power base. Effective politic isn't about winning at all costs, but about maintaining relationship while achieving the result. Although often portrayed negatively, organizational politics are not inherent, but instead it's important to be aware of the potentially destructive aspect of organizational politics in order to minimize their negative effect. Of course, individual within organization can waste time overly engaging in political behavior. Research report in HR magazine found that manager was 20% of their time managing the politic. And however, as John Cotter wrote in Power and Influence, without political awareness and skill, we face the inevitable prospect of becoming immersed and bureaucratic, infighting, partial politic, and destructive power struggle, which greatly retards of organizational initiative, innovation, morals, and informants. Right, we go to the next slide. The types of politics. The types of politics are divided into 6. The first, attacking and blaming. Attacking and blaming is targets on others, and the second, blaming other. And the third are not accepting faults. The second of types of politics is controlling information. The controlling of information is maintaining secret, incomplete information, wrong information, and destroying information. And the third is forming coalition. Forming coalition is forming negative aspect on other. The next, groupism, and the last, rationalism. And the fourth of the type of politics, cultivating network, creating obligation, and the last one of the types of politics, managing impression.
The next one, I will explain about causes and consequences of political behavior in organizational factors. There is 4 factors. The first one is declining resources. Second one, role and ambiguity. Third one is low trust. And the last one is promotion opportunities. Declining resources is about people may engage in political action to safeguard what they have and to stimulate conflict and increasing politic action. And the second one, role ambiguity. This one means that the presubscribed behavior of the employee are not clear. The third one is low trust. Low trust is about the low trust is there is within the organization. The higher the level of political behavior, and the more likely it will be illegitimate. And the last one is promotion opportunities. Promotion opportunities is about how to encourage people to complete for limited resources and try to positively the decision.
Alright, conclusion of politic. Organizational politics is necessary for a leader to acquire and retain power and to accomplish major goals. Although political behavior can be unethical and destructive, it also should be ethical and contribute to a balanced set of interests. Your democratic institutions must foster different and larger institutions by which knowledge can be made greater and choice wider and more certain. The real function of power, and the other its creeds, is the liberation of men and women to think and make the most of themselves.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haziq Izzat bin Huzaini. My number metric I211057173. Okay, we see on the new slide. Case studies. Ahmad is a rising star in the company for the past 3 years. He has been the top performer in introducing and selling the core product of the company, which is coffee, and it is a record which is very proud of. Therefore, he was stunned and somewhat perplexed by the email he received from the chief executive officer of the company. He wondered what he had done wrong. Ahmad checked on his sales record for quarters 1 and 2 of the year, and all his sales target were achieved. In fact, the sales for quarter 2 had exceeded the target given to him by 50%. As for the target for quarter 3, it was already at 80%, and he had another month to go to ensure his target was met. However, in the CEO's email, Ahmad was instructed to improve on his performance. He was also reminded that he had to report formally to the manager in charge regarding all his work activities. Next connection for case studies. It was also specified that any failure to adhere to these terms will result in his records being tarnished and diminish his chance for a promotion. During his afternoon tea break at the company's cafe, Ahmad bumped into Encik Zaidi, the CEO, and took the opportunity to casually ask what the email was all about. Encik Zaidi explained the Ahmad's direct superior had commented that Ahmad had challenged him in a meeting recently. The superior also had a list identifying the security measures that Ahmad had failed to comply with in delivering his task. The CEO then asked Ahmad if he would like to hear the direct superior side of the story, but Ahmad declined. According to Ahmad, he was also seeking clarification on what had triggered the email and the rationale behind it. Personally, Ahmad felt that this information could assist him in strategizing his sales mission. Okay, next slide is case studies question. Okay, question number one is, in your opinion, what could the CEO do to ensure that both Ahmad and his superior can work together professionally? Question number two, what is your advice to Ahmad in order for him to be able to climb the corporate ladder in the organization? Next slide is the answer case studies number one. This answer is, in my opinion, there are several things that CEO can to do ensure that both Ahmad and his superior can work together professionally. The first one is the CEO need to create a bond between Ahmad and his superior. This can be done by having small talks and ask opinion from both parties in every aspect. This small step might help these two parties to work efficiently and professionally without holding any grudge, as the bonding in the crucial CEO must be natural in work and shows to the employers that they need to take work seriously and show their commitment in everything that they do. When the CEO shows the professional attitude towards Ahmad and his superior, no one will feel behind, and they will be more hardworking to their job professionally. Answer case studies number two. My advice to Ahmad, in order for him to be able to climb the corporate ladder in the organization, he needs to be professional in workplace. He needs to create bonding with all his co-workers, including his superiors, as it will make everyone comfortable working with him. When he is able to create bonding with everyone, his superiors will like him even more, as Ahmad is not a selfish person, even though he is a top performer in the company. When Ahmad willing to learn from everyone and ask for everyone's support, no one will dissatisfied with him, and he can climb to the corporate ladder in the organization professionally. Okay, we see the new slide. New slide is summary. In an organization, no matter what position one holds, having power will indeed be an advantage. Having power allows a person to get things done in a particular way. in order to maximize one's power, one needs to increase the dependency level of others on him or her. This can be done by ensuring that what he or she possesses knowledge, skills, and information are not substitutable in any manner. Power is a crucial ingredient for effective leadership. There are two sources of power: formal power and personal power, which are further divided into the base of power, decisive power, reward power, legitimate power, information power, expert power, and referent power. The key to power is the extent of dependency to power between the person who wields it and the person who is influenced by it. This is termed as the general dependency perspective. The general dependency perspective explains that power dependency is influenced by three factors: the importance of a resource, the scarcity of a resource, and whether or not the resource has a substitute. Power tactics are how individuals translate power based into specific action. It is basically the way individuals influence other people to do the things they want done. This happens on a daily basis, and it happens everywhere. There are many ways in which tactics are used to get others to do things for you. At the same time, one needs to understand that the response, these tactics will vary from one person to another. That's all for me. Thank you.
And the last one, before we end our presentation, we would like to show a short video that is relevant to the topic we are present.
Dunia ini hanya palsu.
Kamu kan tahu dia tu penipu. Muka dia pun muka penipu. Yang kamu berdua bijak pandai yang boleh kena tipu dengan dia tu pasal apa? Kamu berdua yang bodoh. Hamba bodoh.
Dunia ini hanya palsu.
Salah atau tidak jikalau seorang lelaki masuk di rumah seorang perempuan semasa suaminya tak ada di rumah?
Itu salah besar, salah besar.
Kalau begitu perempuan itu salah lah.
Salah juga lah. Tapi itu tak jadi apa. Sebab undang-undang dalam negeri ada yang bikin. Itu semua boleh padam.
Dunia ini hanya palsu.
Oh, Syawal, Abah mau tanya, macam mana kau boleh kaya, Syawal? Oh, ente belum tahu lagi kah? Sekarang Ana kasih tahu sama ente. Kekayaan, kebahagiaan rumah tangga, semua datang daripada Allah, bukan daripada bapa. Lagi teruk aku kena main. Ujang lapor, ada macis, tak ada rokok.